Hello, welcome to Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream. I'm your community manager, Cordovin, and I'll be with you for the next hour, along with my cat, apparently, hanging out, having some fun, doing some Q&A of the latest news. We have Update 40 happening next week, and also a special sale happening next Thursday that I can't really tell you too much about, but is super sweet. So we got a big week planned for next week. I'm going to take a look at some of the work in progress release notes. They're mostly ready, but they're updates next week, and that's how we're. I don't know how the kitty was fine up until I started talking. At which point the cat is like, meow 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 meow. And so that's what's happening here today. So let's just chill with the kitty here for a little bit, and yeah, Sarabella. So any Mother's Day gift cards or something you might have, you might want to save them for this next week. We have got, I could say this much. We have got a new supporter pack. What's the formal name of it? Whimsical Patrons Coffer, I believe, is the name we're going for. And that's going to be happening next week. And we got some cool screenshots and a little bit of cool, like, GIFage, and some really cool things that I saw a video of, and I was like, what? Are you for real? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's my review. So you're going to have to wait till next week for this. It should go live next Thursday, and we'll have an article up on Lotra.com about it next week when the time comes. So that's pretty cool. Otherwise, Update 40 arrives next week. So let me swap cameras briefly and move over to the release notes here, which I'm just going to have to put up in a very raw state on the... oh, I still have the 17th anniversary stuff here on this frame. Let me get rid of that. Because the 17th anniversary event did come to an end this past week, hopefully you enjoyed it, and... had a good time with it. Alright, here's our release notes that I copied over into an open office document because maybe it surprises nobody to hear this. I'm a little bit of an open office person. Not that I have anything against certain companies that make certain office writing documentation software, but for my money, or lack thereof, open office is the way to go. I actually send docs around the office in open office format. I'm that guy. Yeah. Alright. I am going to have a good weekend. So we're actually taking, we have a company event a little bit later on this afternoon, kind of late afternoon. Just one of those sort of corporate morale booster things. And we're heading to a place called... well, it's some kind of like, they call it a farm, but it has about as much to do with the farm as a Chuck E. Cheese does. It's a little bit like a Chuck E. Cheese for adults. It's got like golf and mini golf, an arcade, food, some rides, things like that. But they call it a farm. Maybe you can pet goats or something. Nenorous, we're going to have more information about next week's offer next week. I can try to look up while we're going here. If I can figure out the answer to that question, I will let you know. Otherwise, may have to wait for next week. I've been here before. The arcade is okay. It's fine. But am I ready for the new Middle-earth movies? I don't know what to think about the Middle-earth movies. I'm sure they're going to be fun. I mean, I'm down. I'm down. And yes, Lizzie is feeling well. She was very sick recently, but I've been giving her antibiotics and things like that. It's been a week, but she is feeling a lot better. Yeah, it should be next week for our regular. It'll debut with our sales for the week next week. Well, why am I not seeing this? Okay. Let's see if I can find... Here we go. Let's see if I can find the answer to your question. It is going to be in the Lotro store, 4 points. All right. Let's get to what I can talk more about, and that is Update 40. These release notes have been reviewed partially, but they aren't yet really ready to be published on a website or something like that. That's why they're in an open document format, and I'm just pasting it up on the screen here. It hasn't been sent for translation yet, and things will probably change a little bit from what you end up seeing on the page next week. So just be aware of that these notes are as accurate as I am aware of at the time of this broadcast, but we have another 3 or 4 days yet. And it is not at all uncommon for things to get tweaked a little bit before they go live. So that's what's up. But next week is the Legendary Items Reward Track, Season 10, the 10th one. However you want to call it. I don't know, I guess we're using seasons. Anyway, 2 things about that. First thing to do, make sure you claim all your stuff before the 15th. May 15th, next week, 10 a.m. That is a Wednesday, right? Yes, so next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, the new Legendary Item Reward Track debuts and the old one goes away. So make sure that you claim all your claims from the old one before Wednesday. Wednesday probably at 9 a.m. because we'll be taking the worlds down on Wednesday. The new track will be up when the worlds are. Otherwise, Update 40 is about the Umbar Mach, the Neaths, beneath Umbar Bahabel, the city of the Corsairs. We're going to be doing some questing a little bit later on today in Umbar. That's what I'm going to do rather than run the raid. I just had a little bit of news, wasn't really ready to run the raid this week. So we're just going to kick that can down the road. That raid can. Psh, that can of raid gets kicked down the road another couple weeks, I think, because next week's going to be all about Update 40. Umbar Mach, the Neaths. It's a new dawn. You'll speak to Jaith outside the meeting hall of Darlaha. That's sort of where a lot of this is going to be centered. That's in the city of Umbar. You can currently visit it now. It's in the upper ward. We're going to have a new chapter of the Song of Waves and Wind, and this is a new on-ramp for the story. And what that means is that you can pick up from here without having to run everything prior to, if you want to. We want you to. We would encourage you to actually enjoy the story by running it from the start, but if you don't want to, and especially as things go on in time, it's important to have these kind of on-ramps so that people can pick up where they left off if they need to. And that's going to be arriving this next Wednesday with Update 40, Chapter 9 of the Song of Waves and Wind. And you can just sort of pick up there no matter where you are in progress of chapters 1 through 8. There's also some new side quests in each of the 5 sections of Umbar Mach. He'll be started by a member of the Kindred inside of Darlaha, so we've got... This is going to put my pronunciation, I'm sure, I am 1,000% sure I am wrong. But let's give it a shot. Takdar, the Cellars. Imabiri, the Wells. Kamra Bezur, the Vaults. Kabarkad, the Crypts, and Deliermes, the Births, a flooded area deemed so dangerous, adventurers are discouraged from traveling there alone. These are all for level 150 players. We do have some class work. Now, much of this you may have already seen over on the Bull Roar forums as well. Much of this is a copy-paste over from the Bull Roar forums, as it is still current. But we do have a bunch of class work going in with Update 40 as well. You'll be able to see that next week if you want to. You can pause the screen and read it. I'm not going to go through all this class work here. I don't think it's probably worth doing. But I will keep it up on the screen for a little bit so that you can kind of pause it, read it, do whatever you want to do with it. But you can find this over on the Bull Roar forums too, so you probably just read it there. There may be a few things that have been added since the last preview, but I don't actually know if that's true. So. So let's get to some of the more kind of interesting bits here with crafting. That we have fixed an issue where the Umbari crafting daily quests were not bestowing properly for characters that had left and rejoined a profession. We have also fixed some names of the Umbari Guild Earrings of the Bright Sea Star. And you will only have to level a profession back to tier 15 to get back your access to the Umbar dailies when you leave a profession in which you've achieved access to the Umbar Guild. And 5 new level 143 quests are being added as well. This is to Lon Kyrian. They can be obtained from Lindil near the entrance in Upper Lon Kyrian, as well as others within the city. This is kind of a long-standing bug, but Forged Anew is no longer going to require you to reforge your legendary item to progress. This really has to do with an early game scenario that occasionally players run into, and they hit up CS and be like, what do I do now? And it has to do with kind of when you first get that LI and update it. So you're no longer going to have to reforge it. If you reforge your LI too early, that's generally the bug that hits up CS, or you have an old LI, you are no longer blocked from completing the quest. However, the fix requires the quest to be versioned. So, if it's underway, as in not completed but underway, you'll want to pick up the quest again from Dethalion at the Forges of Rivendell. We've done some work on the Forester crafting event. That hopefully is going to get it pretty much where we want it to be, I think, here in Update 40. I'm sure it's going to... That one's been a little bit of a playing whack-a-mole on the Forester event, but we want to get this first one really where it needs to be so that before we start updating and bringing out new ones, should they be of interest to people. All right, I'm not going to read too much more here. I don't think it's too much... It's worth getting into too much of this. Really a lot of polish on quests and stuff. Tharasgar's troll knockback attack is no longer going to knock you so far back that you get kicked out of the instance. The Vile Apothecary, that's a good thing. As you can see here, we have a bunch of changes to Depths of Amokta Korbo as well. This is what you can read over on Bull Roar as well. Particularly with the final battle and the tentacle attacks on the boats, we've made a bunch of small to not so small adjustments. Yeah, you can see all this stuff is just depths. So we have a lot of polish going into Depths of Amokta Korbo based on real world feedback and actually what happens when it gets there, right? So, all right. For missions and delvings, we have a new mission, Securing Salvage, with Malthak in Umbar Baharbel's Bloody Eagle Tavern for levels 20 to 150. Delving also available for Securing Salvage. For items and rewards, I want to call out that both Captain and Lore Master trainers are going to let you barter Mithril for a small Bog Lurker appearance in the case of a Lore Master, and Hobbit Herald appearances in the case of a Captain. Elias will now tell you if they're ready to be reforged in the examination tooltip. Ain't that nice? Yeah. All right. The siege engine work that you saw over on Bull Roar is not arriving with Update 40, but will be arriving in the future. At least that's the plan. So not a lot of PvMP work initially here for this Update 40. Really happy about this next one. You'll be seeing this live today. New travel destinations being added in and around Umbar Baharbel. The Swain's Guild Hall, Bloody Eagle Tavern, Gate of Sorrow, Fleet Gate, Eridar's Hunting Expedition Camp, and a milestone at the camp. So that's nice. You can also apply custom names to their carry-alls with Update 40. That's a big deal for some folks. The names do not appear when stored in the vault, and really that has to do with the way the vault works. It gets a little complex, but and maybe it sounds scarier than it actually is as well. But essentially, when you're putting something in the vault, you are getting rid of the item and then storing a reference to the item that would allow it to be recreated once it's pulled out of the vault. That's sort of how that kind of thing works at sort of a really, really high level. And so that's why it can't contain temporary properties like that, because it doesn't know how to read them or what to do with them. Maybe there's something we can do about that in the future, but for now, at least we can let it make it so that you can rename it when it's not stored in a vault. All right. I think that's pretty much the update 40 release notes here. That was a little lot. Let me see what we got. My understanding is it's an option to spend Mithril. But perhaps I need to read up more about what's going on. Yeah, I know, Boromon. It seems like they were just a little while ago that ninth track was debuting. I too feel it's like, wow, we really kind of are cruising through these, aren't we? But all right, so I think that's what we have for news here. What else is worth mentioning? We do have a crafting XP boost happening through the weekend here. That's 25% crafting XP. And that goes until 3 a.m. Eastern on May 13th. And then as you see the Virtue tier increase that's on the public event schedule going up from 90 to 92. It's at approximately 514, probably more likely to be the 15th when update 40 is likely to go live. Gosh, I hope it happens. But that's the plan anyway. And that's the news. So anything before I get in game, I guess let me move on over to the game client. So today what I'm going to do is really just some general questing in Umbar Bahabel. It's one of those things that we haven't really gotten to on the stream yet. Along with the raids, we've done the delvings and the missions, and we've done the main story and the quests. And the instances, although we could certainly do more of that here in the coming weeks, you know, as time permits. But I want to try to keep things as fresh as I can in terms of content. And so let's just do some of this random questing in Umbar, this final week of Update 39, really, before Update 40 hits. And so with next week, we'll be dealing with the new. So let's go through our most recently new here. And I haven't really done a lot of this just sort of rando questing, so we'll see how it goes. Pick up some of the rep and things, and it seems pretty good. This person, we're going to start by being a little bit like we should be sitting outside of some bodega on the east side of Boston or something like that. But you know, because we're gonna be saying, yo, you owe this guy money, man. It's time to take care of biz. Like this guy. Gonna be a little bit of a bouncer at the start. See? Intimidating. That's me. Alright, the Rahal Scoundrel and Lazybody as well. I need to find here. I'm assuming they're just down the road, but let me go take a look at the map quick. Yep. Okay, yeah, I'm glad to... Oh, there's the other busybody. Thank you, Guariendas, for mentioning that. That it is also available for receipts of armament exchange. Oh, is it? Okay, well... Okay. Sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about in regard to this. So it sounds like, as with Bulwer, the Hobbit Captain Harold's are indeed Mithril coin only. We'll have to pass that feedback on. Now, we're not going to say our arrival is a known issue, hopefully. These are busy weeks for us. These past few weeks, we have been keeping things quite busy, and people have also had other stuff going on in their lives. But that's why I haven't been able to. I'm like fish slapping them. Okay. Yeah, I got it done, Zadok.
Have you come to help?
My money.
Good.
You managed to get some of it back. There's even some interest on top of it. All right.
We must not let our vigilance lapse.
Let's think about how I could actually make a profit. Sure, the usual clientele are not used to the notion of debt, but with your help, I could set an example in the city, and perhaps even here, called the Gut. There's a proprietor here who took out a massive loan in hopes of striking it rich, like I did. They have a healthy reputation. If we could set an example with such a figure, debts would surely be paid on time and with interest. We're trying to encourage healthy spending habits here in Umbar Bahar. Well, healthy for us. Spending habits in Umbar Bahar Bell. How do I get over there? Get over there. Down that way. So what's with all the slapping? Apparently I am encouraging people to pay their debt who are currently delinquent on their payments. To this poor person who did business and helped people get loans and then was like, oops. Okay. People aren't used to dealing with loans. I am on the wrong side, but that's fine. I can get you. Just might have to fight my way over a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, you could say I'm a loan shark enforcer, although I get the impression based on the actual dialogue that nothing necessarily underhanded is happening. It's just that there are legit debts that need to be paid for goods and services provided. And where am I going? I am in fact going this way. Okay. Alright, so is there anything in particular that folks here on chat would like to chat about here for today's show? In the coming weeks, we'll be looking at Update 40. I would like to get one of those raid streams in. I've really struggled with getting a group together to make this happen. I think I might need to change my game plan a little bit and pre-record something, or do a kind of a one-off live stream at a different time that's going to work for whatever kinship I end up roping in to run with me. But I think that's probably what I'll try to do here. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be picking up my son for the summer, so my free time in the evenings and that's going to get a little sparse. But I've got a couple weeks yet, and my intention is to get this raid stream in the next couple of weeks. Can't be this Friday night because I'm going to be going to the adult Chuck E. Cheese. Except it's not just for adults, I think kids go there too. The Chuck E. Cheese version of a farm. It's called Kimball's Farms, and there's a whole bunch of them. They're like a chain. I think it's a regional chain, but they're fun though. It's cool. Alright.
Oh, this is intolerable.
You want my money? Do you know who you're talking to? You made a big mistake this day. No one touches my money. But... Alright, now we're going back to Zadok. So we can get down here more easily. It'll send me that way. No. Okay. Yeah, it's one of those. It's like a company morale booster thing. Yeah, every now and then, a couple times a year, the Standing Stone Games and that tends to do some sort of outing. We've actually done an outing at Kimball Farms before, and I think everyone had a really fun time, so we're going back. We went to like an arcade thing once. We done a bunch of different things. Sometimes back in the WB days, when SSG was a couple of development teams owned by WB Games, we got to go to movies. The movie I'm very, very excited for is Furiosa, and that's because I'm an old school Road Warrior Mad Max dude, and I thought Fury Road was probably going to go down as one of the best action movies of the past 20 years. Probably. I mean, right? It has to, right? Just in terms of film craft and everything.
Our newly gained peace.
I saw Edgar Wright, who's a film director himself, talk about how he got to see Furiosa early and just raved about it. And he was like, I don't understand how they're not still shooting this movie. Just in terms of the actual project and making it all happen. So, but back in the day, I got to see Fury Road on a little WB gift outing, and that was fun. All right, it's even the same chest as in which he hauled it away. The man is quite the businessman. It seems he was able to make some money on top of the initial investment I made. Can't thank you enough. Maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to serve your needs. Of course, you're entitled to a massive discount on interest. All right. So we helped out that fine merchant, who's not shady whatsoever. And now let's see what's going on with
What
who's
news has come in with the tide?
Freebooters and scoundrels roam the city as if they own the place. They leave behind debris and detritus to create an ill look. Our businesses cannot thrive in such an environment. Yo, can you clean up the trash? Yes. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. So last weekend, a very prominent figure in the movies and such passed away, Bernard Hill. And we've had a really significant player outpouring of remembrance and such. This past week or so, we've seen a fair number of memorials in game and player rides to honor Bernard Hill, who truly is, an incredible actor of the ages, was. And I don't know whether we're going to do something in game or not, but potentially in the future, maybe, if it feels appropriate. It's tricky. We don't want to do too much of that, because one, we're not based on the movie, for one. But as life goes on, sadly, as we have seen over the decades, that the amount of things that we can create memorials to, sadly, only continues to grow. So we try to be somewhat selective as to what we do. But maybe, we'll see. So, like, sorry to go off topic, just a little bit, but I think we covered most of the news. It should be fine. I want to go back and talk a little bit about Furiosa. Because I agree, at Orhelm. You're waiting for it. The trailer's visuals seem to have suffered a little downgrade. I was concerned about that as well, especially when I You know, so I was like, okay, so it's sort of a spin-off thing, and it's a what, you know? But what I have come to trust is that George Miller knows what the heck he's doing. And when I thought Fury Road was going to be like a CGI kind of thing or something. I don't know why I thought that. I guess I just assumed it was going to be because it was modern. And there was lots of CGI in Fury Road, to be sure. But the overall, like, physical nature of that stunt work and driving, action set pieces and direction, everything just absolutely blew my mind. So I hear you on the special effects, what I saw in the trailer as well. You know, it was amazing, but it was also a little... I think you can kind of tell it was CGI. And, but if there's one thing I've come to do, it's just trust them. Just go. You'll probably dig it. So I probably will just dig it. Holy heck, do I think Fury Road is one good movie. Maybe a little long. But I have that problem with just about every movie. Alright, where's this last Detrius? It's gotta be around here somewhere. Alright. I am very much looking forward to these new Lord of the Rings. Now, I didn't hear movies, although I know from what, I guess it was a year or so, that there was announced plans to do a bunch of Lord of the Rings movies. But this Search for Gollum that got announced this week, I thought that was just going to be a one-off. I didn't think that was going to be like a duo or trilogy or anything like that. We'll see, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, it should be cool.
There is much to be done.
I assume that means we're going to get someone playing Aragorn and Gandalf, whether it's... I mean, how cool would that be to see Ian McKellen do that again, but... Can he? Speaking of movies, I was pretty amazed to hear that the release date plan is 2026 for that movie. I was like, really? You're going to do that in, like, 2 years?
Need you something from me?
So we're cleaning things up. Can you believe this? I go and help those so-called friends sack and plunder, and they go and take everything for themselves. I had a whole bunch to do with it, and I deserve some. What do you think? Would you help me take back my fair share? Don't rob them. I am honest and fair, after all. But fair is fair. There's a secret storeroom where all the ne'er-do-wells keep their prized possessions. Alright. So we're gonna help out this fine citizen. With their human resources issue. They're having a problem with their paycheck. And we're going to be discussing the issue with the on location. Okay, hidden storm. Is that Why, thank you so much, Dan the Man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so, you know, the one nice thing about working with the Lotro team and people like Chris Pearson and Maid of Lions is you can go to them and be like, alright, so Search for Gollum, what exactly are they going to be doing in the movie? And, you know, although they don't work on the script, obviously, they can tell you in a pretty good sense of, like, well, they're probably going to include this part and their search through, what is it, Gandalf and Aragorn's search through Mirkwood and things for Gollum, and you know, they'll probably have this, that, and the other thing. And they're probably accurate. But I guess we'll see. And yeah, we do have that war. You're right. There's that War of the Rohirrim animated thing that's got a very sort of striking visual style, somewhat unusual for Lord of the Rings related material, but it looks cool, so I'm sure it will be. This quest says, hey, I'm having a problem with my paycheck. I'm supposed to get direct deposit, and instead it got deposited in the wrong place. Someone else's bank account that takes the form of a warehouse where thieves store things. Can you help me with my paycheck issue? And I'm like, yeah, totally. I am an HR expert. We grab these couple of swords here and engage in some human resourcing. IRL, I have mostly just been doing housework the past couple of weeks, other than dealing with my recovering kitty from an illness and things. You know, I pick up my son for the summer in a couple of weeks, and looking forward to that. I painted his room last weekend. He's 12, and his room was a little bit aged younger. Oh, house drops. I want these in the other game. Anyway, it's a little aged younger, right? You know, his room was maybe more appropriate for like an 8-year-old-ish. And now that he's 12, I took down some of the more kind of cutesy wall decorations and painted it all nice and fancy for him. I dig these caltrops. Before Legos, there were caltrops. And then caltrops were like, well, all that sharp metal, what if we just use plastic blocks instead? Yeah, I did let him pick the color. He picked like kind of a royal darker blue for the walls, which works pretty well for that space. Alright, before I talk to that, let's speak to Humaz here.
There is much to be done, and Fira
Keep your
has
voice down.
by which to do it.
The fish have not been biting. This is Fathomwell, where water from the bay runs into the great cisterns for use. Fish get disoriented in there, which makes for good fishing, most of the time, but not today. Well, I cross to the other side of the Fathomwell and ask Terex if he's having more good fortune than I. Yeah, why don't we Let me take care of this real quick before we get back to the other dude. And this weekend is all about mowing the lawn and doing yard work. Holy moly, has my yard just exploded because of the nice, beautiful weather and heavy rain we've had. It's a jungle. How's the fishing? Why do you ask? Terex looks at me suspiciously. It looks like he hasn't got caught anything. If Humaz thinks he's going to do better than I, he's better off staying where he is. Tell him that. Okay. That's true, we also have D4s that also make for excellent caltrops. Maybe even better, because they're pointy on the top. I have stepped on a D4. Ouch. I should stay here. Does that mean he's having more luck than I am? Of course, I knew this was going to be the case. Perhaps he caught a great deal of fish and has them hidden somewhere. Alright. Again.
At last.
Oh, so the person's being a hypocrite. Humaz is the one who was hoarding fish secretly. This happens a lot. We come to the Fathom Well. Some days he catches more than I do. Sometimes I have better luck than he. Often we send a helpful stranger back and forth to inquire about the other's fortunes. There's really no end to it, at least until the sun goes down. And then we each go back to our homes and it starts again. Today we are equally matched. Let me turn down the music just slightly, at least with my own audio. So it's going to go down just a little bit. When are we planning to install the new launcher? No ETA to announce. Work has been pretty heavily underway on it for some number of months now, and it has had to start and stop a little bit based on other priorities, but work is progressing, and I would expect to see that. I mean, it's still later this year, but any further than that, I just am not really in a position to say. They are too competitive to fish on the same side of the pool, but thanks. Alright. So, we are making our way over to Monobas. So there is not a new launcher. We are planning to do some launcher work this year. And that's part of the, well, we've been working on it for a year plus now, because it's a big project. But we're getting there. So we'll, I would not expect a dramatically new looking launcher, but behind the scenes tech-wise, we got some tech and things going in. That makes it possible for us to roll out two-factor authentication, for example, and some other things too that need to happen. So
Spare a moment for me.
you did it. Got my paycheck back. You're a fair and honest person. Why, thank you. I do my best. And how about you?
There is much to be done, and fewer hands.
I came
by
here
me.
seeking a new venture. Business has been going okie dokie, but I lost something. It's a family heirloom. I've asked around. The Corsairs keep their valuables in a place called the Eastern Stores, but it is not a place open to the public, nor advertised. I've managed to secure a lead. The entrance to this storehouse should be on the eastern side of the lower ward in the cistern. So, we are heading, back to where we just were. So, let us do that then. And I believe this is going to be on the other side. Oh, no. Is it just in the same treasure? Oh, it's just the same treasure storeroom, isn't it? Well, I've been here before. Okay. Guess I should have spoke to them both when I was there. It is unlikely that we're going to be able to allow you to switch servers without additional logout, login. It's kind of... I know, you know. There could be a time where it's like, really? You guys have to log out every time. I'm sorry. We are ultimately a game that's been around for a while. Let's see. Maybe someday we can do something. As someone who has to log into the game client probably 20 times a day, I feel your pain. But yes, it is an available region. And I don't know that in terms of, like, I don't want the scope to perhaps get too big in your head about what it's going to be. I mean, I don't think we're going to see something super dramatically different. But behind the scenes and the technology it's going to run on is going to be an improvement. And there may be some pieces to it. For example, I think we're going to be swapping our launcher news feed. We want to finally get rid of the old... because the current launcher news feed is really based on the old forums. It's that same, what's called Drupal technology. Drupal is like a software provider thing. And like Drupal and all the rest. Anyway, the current launcher news feed is really based on the old forum tech. And we want to put out a new forum tech, and that's going to take the new launcher as well. So that's one of the bullet points of the new launcher. We're going to have a new launcher newsfeed. The goal, though, is it's still going to be basically text-based and be accessible publicly so that you can just grab the URL and drop it as a Discord feed or whatever else you want to do with it. And, but that may kind of look and feel a little different. We'll see how much we end up using it as well, but we're, I think, going to have some ability to perhaps do be a little more robust with Bull Roar on that as well. Because right now the Bull Roar launcher, when you launch it, really just has the one text message on there. We might have some flexibility. It'll be a little easier to just sort of get messaging on there and do more that way. I don't know what the state of its interaction... Sorry. What its interaction with 4K monitors is going to be. You know, there's a lot that needs to be done for 4K compatibility. It's just not we're just not there yet. I don't know if the launcher's going to be compatible in 4K or not. It would be cool if it was. That may not be possible. I have seen a little bit of UI work that is being done, though. You know, some of the icon upscaling and things like that. So I know that work is underway to offer some improvements in UI, but it's a big project. It's not going to happen quickly nor comprehensively that I'm aware of. It'll take a long time.
Do you have need of something?
So this heirloom is from a long line of merchants, and the raindrop was the first piece of jewelry ever purchased with the family fortune. Thanks. Alright, well, how about you, Shikavi?
There is much to be done, and fewer
Tina's
hands
convinced
by which
himself
to
he'll
do
one
it.
day rule the Corsairs and the city. I can't reach him. I'm accused of not being supportive and pushing him away. But I know for a fact, these Corsairs don't care for Kina. They use him as a slave, with promises of space on one of their boats and a share of the spoils. I've seen how they treat Kina. Would you please help me get through to him? Okay. So, let's see what's up with that. We're kind of heading south here a little bit. This isn't it. Some year I myself am going to go 4K, but I don't know. It's going to be, I'm going to need a new computer, I think, to support it. Like, I've got a 3060, so it's just 4K at 3 monitors. But I'm going to need a whole new motherboard and processor in that. And trying to, I've looked into, I was like, okay, so what kind of bandwidth do I need? What kind of computer do I need to stream in 4K? If I really want to try to do 4K 60, can I? The answer is yes, but it costs you a whole bunch of money. I have a 4K TV, but my computer setup is not at all 4K at the moment. It would be cool. Someday maybe. Someday maybe I'll go 4K. But I don't know that I actually care that much. I mean, I kind of do, but I kind of don't. I don't know. Sadly, as I've gotten a little bit older, my eyes aren't really what they used to be. Not that they were ever particularly great. But I actually have struggled a little bit with some
Nice
fine
ceremony.
detail, say, viewing on 4K TVs. I mean, it looks nice. It looks better than 2K, but I'm only seeing maybe, if I'm lucky, 50% of the coolness that others are. This has to end. I fear for my child's life. If he continues down this path, there is only death in his future, and an early one. Can I please help convince the captain of Kino's crew to let him go? It's the only way. They may even respect this approach. If Kino will listen to anyone, it's his captain. The captain makes the deepest part of the Guttas home, the southeast end of the world. That's, should be able to maybe wrap this up in the next couple minutes, and do a good deed. I mean, we've been helping people all day long here with their HR issues and their need to encourage others to pay their bills. And now we're helping helping a captain with the decision-making process. The decision being to leave this poor kid alone. It's a form of negotiation, basically. Alright.
The winds today are most foul.
Kino's no more than a cabin boy, but a good one. He listens and obeys. For this insubordination, I will have your head. Alright, well. You see the Corsair King, you're right. He called me a slave. You think that shield will stop me? It will not. Alright. Done. Oop, that's not the right way. See if I can make the run without getting dismounted. Nope. Fine. So, that is going to wrap it up then here in a few minutes with Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream. The show goes live on YouTube afterwards. It can take up to maybe 4 or 5 hours for it all to process and do everything it needs to do. But it'll go out live probably this evening at the latest. And you can find it over on YouTube. If you're watching over on YouTube, thank you very much. Please consider liking and subscribing. Feel free to comment below anything you want to say about what you hear on the show here today. And thank you very much for watching. Hope you're having a good time in the Lord of the Rings Online. Enjoy that crafting XP boost. Get those LI9 rewards claimed. We'll see you for Track 10, Update 40, and a new Patrons Coffer next week. So have fun, everyone, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye-bye.